This video is for discussion of output functions of VFD, and we will cover functions like trip, run, stop, ready and steady state, and overload status or underload status, and hand or auto status. And there are some special functions too, like ZST and MMC, for which we will get just a small overview. I have chosen H100 series because it has a lot of built-in relays and a lot of functions too. Now coming to the topic, when we say output or discrete output, we have two types. One is transistor output and the second is the relay output. The transistor output has two functions. One is just discrete output, in which it will be active when programmed condition is met, and second function is pulse output, since transistor can be switched on and off very fast, so the pulse output is possible. The allowed voltage is maximum 24 volt DC and it can give output of 50 milliamperes. Second type of discrete output is relay. It is a dry contact only, which means it is just free for any voltage. However, maximum suggested is 250 volt AC or 30 volt DC. And by the way, the relay has more current carrying capacity. So what is an output? Output is used to give feedback or drive something. For example, if the motor is running, I need an output indication like light indication, which will show the status. Or if there is a trip, I need an alarm indication which can let the operator know that there is some problem with the VFD and he is required to reset. Now, how does it work? It is simply a contact. As shown here, when the condition programmed is true, the state of relay will change from open to closed state. So the voltage will be supplied in this way. Similar is the job of transistor, except that its mechanism, unlike relay, is based on semiconductor. Where relay is based on electromagnetic mechanism. So if we categorize these functions, we can say that there are four main categories. Output will be on when trip is triggered or certain condition is true, like detection of frequency level, or as a feedback, like knowing whether the motor is running or it's stopped. Or lastly, it can be used to drive something, like electromechanical brake need to be open, so we can use the relay output. For the demo, I will show the electrical connection. I have connected red light to relay number 1, yellow light to relay number 2, and green is connected to relay number 3. Now let's assign function to relay and test. I will assign trip function to relay number 1 and stop function to relay number 2, and for relay number 3 I will assign run function. Now programming is done. When the motor is in stop mode, the yellow light is on. Now I started the motor and green light is on, which is relay number 3. Now I will stop again and you can see that yellow light is on again. Now I will run the motor and simulate trip. So now VFD is in trip state and red light is on. So now you have got idea that how relay output works. So let's go through these functions briefly. Trip function we used already and it is used to indicate trip status. Stop is used to indicate motor's rest position, and run is to indicate the running state. Ready function, if there is no trip state, ready will let the relay to be in on position. This indicates that the VFD is fine. Next is overload trip. In case of overload trip, the relay will be on, and similar to overload, but in case of underload, that relay will be on. Next function is steady state. So once we set the target speed and the VFD is accelerating, during that time the relay will remain off, and once it reaches the target, the relay will be on. Next is auto mode and manual mode. So when auto button is pressed, the relay will be on, and similar for the manual mode. When the manual button is pressed, the relay will be on. Now let's switch to demo. I have assigned relay number 1 as ready, relay number 2 as steady state, which means once the target speed is achieved, the relay will be on, and relay number 3 as run. Now I set the target speed and let's test it. So the red light, which is programmed for ready, is on, which indicates that the VFD is ready and there is no fault condition. Now I will run the motor. Green light is on as programmed. As soon as the speed is on the target, the yellow light is on. In our case, the target is 30 Hz, so steady state indication is visible. And in case I change the target speed, the yellow light will be off until speed target is achieved. This is another demo. This VFD model has auto and hand keys. So in case we need indication of auto state or hand state, we can easily assign outputs. Relay number 1 I will program as auto state, and relay number 2 I will program as hand state. And third relay I will keep it as run function. Now when I press auto key, red light is on, which is relay number 1, and when I press hand key, yellow light is on, which is relay number 2. So now we have gone through these functions, some of them practically. In the end, few other important functions. MMC stands for multi-motor control. This function is used in pump application, in which based on pressure feedback we can turn another pump on to support the main pump to meet the pressure requirements. I excluded this topic as this topic requires itself a complete section. And lastly, there is one function ZST, which stands for zero speed detection. It can be activated if the control mode is vector control. This function is used to hold the shaft of the motor at fixed position when stopped without using mechanical brake, which means that the voltage will be injected to motor to hold its shaft. And by the way, it do not have common application. It is used rarely. If you need to use this function, you need to be completely sure that the injury or any damage to machine is not possible. So be careful with zero speed detection function.